Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Josh from Music Software Deals, and today I'm going to do a little first impressions, little walkthrough of Absynth 6, new from Native Instruments. So Absynth has been around for quite a while. Many thought it'd been discontinued, but then they decided to release Absynth 6. Yeah, I played around with it for a couple of hours, made a few patches that I'll walk you through later on. I'm actually quite liking it. It is different, which is kind of refreshing. There's a few things that I would probably add, but we'll get onto that later. First things first, it opens you up with the browser, and you're faced with this screen. These sort of preset browsers are becoming more popular. First time I saw it was in Dawson's Abyss synth. You can have a sort of traditional view. Comes with over 2,000 presets, and if you've owned Absynth before, all the patches should be backwards compatible, which is a nice touch. Yeah, there's ones from Brian Eno, loads of artists, Distance, who's a dubstep producer I used to listen to. Let's have a little listen. Loads of sounds here. What is quite cool is they've added this feature called Mutator. Now, I haven't played around with this too much, but basically what it is you can sort of make presets from the presets. And it will sort of combine a variety of the presets and make fresh new ones, which is kind of cool if you're looking just to get some quick sounds, random sounds. I thought that was quite a nice feature. But we won't go too much into the preset browser. I actually want to go into how I actually made a few patches from scratch, because that's what I like doing. It's no problem with presets. There's some fantastic presets in here, but for me, I enjoy making sounds from scratch. So you see up the top here, you've got your different sections. This is the patch view. You've got 3 oscillators, and these are your different oscillator types. These are your filters and a distortion, ring mod and frequency shift, and an interesting one which we'll get onto later called cloud. You've got comb filters here, some legacy filters. And as you see, your routing is pretty simple. All 3 oscillators go through all these sections, basically like just how a normal subtractive synth works. And then you got your master effects, which is mainly just more wave shaping or filters, and then a sort of spacey, reverby echo section. Now there is only one of these, which I thought, that's a bit limiting. But the more I am using Absynth, the more I'm actually warming to these limitations. I've always been a fan of having limitations within software, because it makes you think more about the process and how you're going to get to the end goal, instead of having unlimited options, which can be a bit overwhelming. So yeah, I'm getting used to it. We'll do the effects later. Now this is where I think Absynth is really good. The envelope section is pretty, I know I was talking about limits, but the envelope section is pretty unlimited. You can either assign an envelope by right-clicking on a parameter, create a new envelope like that, or you can go in the envelope section, put new envelope, and it puts a window which is basically the patch view, and you select what parameter you want to put an envelope on. These envelopes can be put into LFOs, and you can get some really wacky envelopes out of this. LFO section, 3 LFOs. Again, I thought it was pretty limited, but you can use the envelopes as LFOs, so it sort of does counteract that. This takes some getting used to. It's like a matrix view. You sort of plug it in, so this filter would be A here, which would correspond to A here. Slightly confusing, but you sort of get used to it by the end of it. You can see all your modulation going on in the sign tab. So that's pretty similar to other synths like Serum. This section, this wave tab, is where you can draw custom wave shapes, make your own. Again, quite similar to plugins like Serum. I haven't got too in depth with this, but it's there to make your custom wave tables or waveforms. So yeah, if I just open up a preset of mine, ambient pad 1, and I'll sort of walk you through how I made it. Let's play a few notes first. Yeah, quite a pretty ambient patch, quite happy with that. Let's walk you through what's going on. So oscillator A is using the granular engine, which I've used one of their samples. It comes with a bank of samples, which are always quite nice to have. And I've used the choir. If I disconnect that, you can probably quite low in the mix. Sort of rises towards the end, and that's due to the envelope and filtering. I've put a ladder filter, bandpass filter on it, which is being enveloped. Oh no, it's not actually. Oh, I'm talking about another patch. I think that might be, yeah, LFO. That's why. LFO is being sent to this frequency here. Now, my one biggest gripe I have found so far, and I'm not sure if there's a way of actually viewing it, is I think we've all become accustomed to seeing what the modulation is doing. And there's pros and cons to this approach. I find it slightly annoying that I can't see the modulation, because I like to visualize what it's doing, but at the same time, it's making me actually listen to the changes. So I think some people might be a little put off. I don't know if it is actually a feature. I can't see anything in the settings to change anything to view the modulation. And if there is one, it's not that intuitive to find. So maybe they can patch that in. But again, some people might like this because it's, you know, on an analog synth you wouldn't have the visual feedback. So yeah, just a little small thing I would improve on. That is then being sent through some distortion, wave shaping. You've got loads of different distortion or loads of different wave types to put in the wave shaper. The granular engine is simple, but yeah, it's not as in depth of something like Serum, but it's still neat to have, and it does create some interesting textures. The double oscillator sounds like sort of phasing in and out. Yeah, I've put 5 voices up, detuned them slightly. Again, that's going through some distortion and a filter. And again, I'm using the granular engine for C. And there's the harmonic flute. Again, I think I am modulating this frequency with an LFO. Now, this is going through the etherealizer, which on the basically it is a reverb, but it is a granular delay type reverb, which you can see some visual feedback if I play. Different grains going on down the bottom. You can customize, you can modulate any of this as well. And I have transposed it down 12 semitones, so down an octave. It's creating quite a deep reverb. If I was to have it a bit brighter, and then if you want like a shimmer reverb type thing, so it is a really nice sounding reverb. I liked it down at 12 for slightly darker reverb. These are the different effects you can have. Again, you can only really have one enabled from what I've found. But yeah, the master ones, you can individually send them, which is nice. You can individually send different things. Yeah. So that is a room for customizing. So this patch is sort of a cinematic trailer bass patch. You hear them quite a lot in trailers now. These sort of rhythmic, reminds me of a Battlefield game soundtrack. This one's heavily using the envelopes, which we will get on. The engines again were a granular, sort of a granular grinding machine sort of sound effect. It's being distorted pretty hard, and then the bandpass filters, I'm just using my mouse to sort of add a bit of grit to it. Again, similar things, subtractive synths going on here, and similarly for this one, using a double oscillator again. Going into a filter, going into distortion, and then the echoes is what's giving it obviously delaying the tails a bit. So let's get onto the envelopes, because that's where most of this is coming from. So you can see all my different envelopes here. A lot of them are copied and pasted to add rhythm. I've put them into loop mode, so just constantly looping around. You can change the grid size to make it all timed up a bit. 32 eighth notes. Yeah, adding different, most of them are the same, just slightly different. So yeah, you can create some really nice cinematic patches. I think this is where this synth actually does shine, making ambient, textural, weird sound effects. I think that's what they're going for. I mean, in the trailer, it's certainly what they're going for, is that sort of dark, deep, texturally cinematic trailer music type of sounds you can create out of this, and it does it really well. It is nice to have a synth, a subtractive synth that is slightly different. We've seen quite a lot of synths come out that do the same thing, really. It is nice to have something that may not be automatically appealing, but the more you use it, the more you're like, oh, actually, I could make something really cool quite easy. So yeah, that's that cinematic patch. Again, another cinematic bass stab, heavily distorted. This one's really quite simple. It's just a sine waves and a square wave, all just being wave shaped differently, filtered differently. Going through a multicomb, this weird delay that's sort of spreading out a bit and causing some weird artifacts. The envelopes. You can really come up with some funky shapes with these envelopes, which I'm really enjoying. Yeah, most of them are fill sweeps. So yeah, again, quite simple stock sounds, and then you just sort of go to town with automating parameters with the envelopes. Again, if I had some visual feedback, I would be able to directly tell you, but apart from that, I have got. You can see where they're going. So that's filter frequency, phase, wave shaping phase, fix things like that. So yeah. And so another ambient type pad sound. Again, using this time using the sample engine, which is different to the obviously granular engine. Granular is splitting the grains up. This is just to play a sample engine playback. Very limited features. What I have found is like the loop edit. If you put a section in, does add a bit of a crossfade to it, so it's kind of nice. I would kind of like a separate crossfade setting, but this is just a basic sampler, so, but yeah, does the job. I just know other synths, again, sorry for referencing Serum again, but Serum has more flexibility in that aspect, but I just don't think that's what they're going for in this. What's that sound like on its own? Oh, sorry, that wasn't on its own. So that's just in the background. Double oscillator is one of the sections here. Am I doing anything unique? Yeah, adding some detuning with some voices. Going for a filter. And now this cloud effect is more granular fun, which I'm always keen on. Transposing that by 12 semitones, so an octave. Add some like randomness to it, which you can get some quite creepy sounds out of. I'll turn the mix up. Yeah, it's just adding another layer of texture to it. Adding a master filter, notch filter, which is being automated by an envelope. Pretty basic long envelope for these. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Quite a basic patch. Not using. Am I using LFO? Just the master filter. Yep. So this is where that's going to. Frequency. Deselected these ones, and it's just going to the master filter. Yeah. So yeah, that was just a very quick look into Absynth 6. There's many more videos out there going to a bit more in depth. Like I said, it comes with over 2,000 presets. There's lots to it. Current price is $199. With, I think if you own Absynth 5, the upgrade price, the upgrade price is $99 for people who own Absynth 5. So if you own Absynth 5, then the patches are going to be backwards compatible. So yeah, if you want to price track Absynth 6, I'll put a link down below if you want to potentially get it on discount. You can use our price alert feature over on our website. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.